Hello and welcome. Please take a look at the variety of roses that we have in our fridge right now. This is just a small portion of the whole selection available today. New roses appear on the market all the time. Here is just a bit of what we have. Beautiful premium Ecuadorian roses such as Topaz, Luciana, Cayenne, Lighthouse, Lemonade, Freedom, High and Magic, Hot Princess, Deep Purple, Cool Water, and so on. If you see these shapes and colors and you are a good gardener, how could you resist the temptation to grow these in your yard, just to add this beauty to your collection? So we started searching online to find the instructions on how we can do it. By pressing the buttons on our computer, we right away found numerous websites and YouTube videos where dishonest advisors assure you that you can grow these roses from your gift bouquet. It is all lies. It is the absolute opposite. It is quite hard, and in some cases impossible. And in this short video, I will try to explain to you why this is and what the main reasons behind this are. I just want to show you how we receive the roses. All the imported roses, like for example this one from Ecuador, are packed in boxes. They are usually packed by 25 stems in cartons and in cellophane. Before florists put them up for sale, they have to condition dehydrated roses. So we have to cut an inch off the stem, place them in warm water mixed with a special solution which speeds up the hydration process. Now I want to tell you one secret, one that the floral industry does not want you to know. The fact is that from the moment the roses get cut in the greenhouse and until the moment consumers buy them in the stores, 5 to 10 days pass, more when around holidays. And you probably will be surprised if I tell you that this is absolutely normal, and all of these roses will last for consumers another 5 to 10 days, with good care. It sounds crazy. Traditional gardeners know that if you cut naturally grown roses from your garden outside the house and put them in a vase, they typically last 5 to 6 days. Then the roses open, then the petals naturally fall off the stem, and this is the normal lifetime for naturally grown roses, but not for roses grown in greenhouses. What is the reason behind this? What is normal and what is not normal in nature? All of the flower industry workers have an unofficial formula which divides a cut rose's life into 3 stages. 7 days from the moment of cutting for transportation and in the wholesale supplier's fridge. 7 days in the flower shop or another retailer or business who sells them to the consumers, and 7 days for consumers. Plus or minus, but this formula always works. How in Ecuador or Colombia can they grow super monsters that can live 21 days after being cut? And why is their lifetime 3 to 4 times longer than naturally grown roses like the one in your backyard? There is an answer to this, and it is that during the growing process, lots of chemicals are being used on rose bushes. The total list reached around 50. They include pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and phytohormones combined. Not all of them at the same time, of course. Don't panic. And luckily, most of them are absolutely harmless. But I want to stop you on these 2 biologically active compounds which belong to the groups of triazole, paclobutrazole and pencanozole. These active chemicals have a strong growth retardant effect, such as antagonist plant hormones like gibberellin and auxin. Their purpose is to slow the flower's ripening process, stop stems from growing, prevent leaves from falling, and prevent the root from developing, while stimuli grow already developed roots. I don't want to talk about biochemistry. I just want to tell you that this is done in order to improve resistance for transportation, prolong a rose's shelf life, and this is the first reason why it is very difficult to root roses from your gift bouquet. Yes, I saw some websites mention that it is much more effective to grow roses from your local greenhouses, of course, because they don't have to transport them long distances, but nobody's mentioning the main second reason, why growing roses from the bouquet is just a simple waste of time. Please, follow me to our local garden center. I want to show you something. There are two types of rose bushes that roses typically grow on. This one grows on its own roots. As you can see, roots emerge from the soil in clusters. People get this variety of roses by using a natural approach, like selection, crossbreeding, as a result of hard work of many dedicated growers for many years, with the use of tools that Mother Nature gave us. Look at them. It is the end of October. Leaves are falling from trees, and the temperature has reached .0 a few times already. But they are still so full of life, lots of buds and flowers. These types of roses are frost and disease resistant. Now we are going to another section of the garden where they sell rose bushes, which grow on another rose root, usually wild rose, and they are grafted roses. If you look closely, you will see a thick part at the bottom, obviously showing others' plants' roots and places where the rose cut was grafted. There are not many leaves seen, neither buds or flowers on them, but the difference between grafted roses and roses growing on their own roots is especially noticeable in fall. They are much less frost and disease resistant, and they typically need cover during the winter and extra care. I purchased one, and now I'm going to show you closely. Sometimes garden centers sell them without pots and just in cellophane bags, like the root of the wild rose with a piece of the rose clone drafted to that. If you pull these roses out of the pot, you can clearly see the presence of the grafting. It is done to improve variety resistant and the color and the shape of the flowers. It is a fact that most of the roses in the greenhouses, like the ones you received as gifts or bridal bouquets, all of them are growing on this type of bush. You guys buy this just as a part of the plant, just before the root of the wild rose. These varieties result of aggressive human interactions with the genetic code of the roses, and they are so much more different than original roses that they cannot exist on their own. They are just a clone growing on grafted roots. Cellular engineering, such as haploid and diploid breeding, micropropagation mutations, and viruses, and also genetical modifications are the methods that are used to receive unique, unusual colors such as gray, rustic, purple, gigantic sizes, ugly forms like the cabbage roses, very different from normal shapes of roses, and also super long-lasting resistance. That is modern biotechnology, which makes roses sterile and absolutely unable to survive. It is artificially supported DNA of the specific variety of roses that you typically buy in your local flower shops. They are not vital. There is no life. Theoretically, yes, you can grow them if you want to and if you know how to graft them, but do not forget the fact that these are all artificially supported, and they have patents. They are properties of corporations and private collectors. Breeding them for your own enjoyment is totally fine, but breeding them for profit, for example, may bring you some problems with the law. So please don't waste your time on them. If you have a dream to grow beautiful roses in a garden, it is possible. You just need to take pieces from the first type of rose bushes that I told you before. We have a video on our channel with filmed instructions on how to successfully propagate roses and grow roses from cut pieces. If you'd like to, take a look at that. Thank you so much for watching. Leave your comments, questions, and concerns below, and don't forget to subscribe.